Hi, I'm Chef Jen. Welcome to my home. We're here to have a beautiful wine dinner, thanks to some good friends of ours. So we have some wines that Jen is going to tell you about, and all these wines go along the Camino de Santiago in the northern part of Spain. And this is one of our first wine dinners. We have some mise en place that's all color-coded with colored dots, and we gave you a little bit of instructions on that as well. So let's introduce, I'm Chef Jen, and my business partner Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth.
And this is Jen Allerton.
Hi,
So,
I'm Jen, not the chef.
what do you do, Jen?
Well, I work with Olé and Obrigado. We are importers of wines from artisanal producers, small family farmers all around Spain and Portugal. And I remember a couple of years back, I had the pleasure of visiting a lot of them with the two of you. So we've been talking for years about doing something like this, and I'm so glad that we finally managed to do it. So like you said, the theme of the wines today is following that Camino de Santiago that runs all across that northern coast of Spain through Castilla y León and into Galicia. So that framed our wines, and I can't wait to see what you've got lined up to go with it for food.
Well, we'll get started. And what we're going to do, I'm going to make each course. These ladies are going to enjoy the food. They're going to talk about the wine. And then as they're talking about the wine, I'm going to get ready for the next course. At home, if you'd like to stop the video, I'll tell you stop the video if you'd like to enjoy the food. That'll be a nice time. You can start the video again to make the next course. So however you like to play it should be fine. So the first course, we had this beautiful Chocolina. Now again, I'm going to let you talk about it, but when I tasted that wine, I got a lot of green apple out of it from me. That's just something I thought was fun. So I cured a little bit of salmon with green apple, a little sugar, a little salt, and dill. And I've shaved this salmon very thin, and I'm going to put it on a little plate. This is going to be our amuse-bouche. And so very simple to start with. Some paper-thin, beautiful salmon. And I have an apple vinaigrette, and inside that apple vinaigrette, I have some Basque chilies. I love the brininess of the Basque chilies with the apple. I think it'll complement the salmon really nicely. And we also have some crispy ones. So the amuse-bouche is just a tiny little thing just to kind of get your palate tingling and going. Nothing too much here. I think this apple vinaigrette is really important. We're going to put a bit on here so we can get a bit on every bite.
That's so good.
And then we're going to put these crispy Basque chilies that we gave you on here. And now they're not spicy. They're if you haven't had one, I'd say similar to a pepperoncini type flavor. So that's all you need to do for this course. You just need to put your little salmon out, spoon the vinaigrette that we give you, and put the chili on here. This is ready to go for you fabulous ladies.
Wow.
And let me know, Jen, because I always want to see what you think of my wine pairings.
I'm so excited to taste it.
Jump in there and just let me know.
Okay. Without further ado.
Yeah.
Jen, the salmon is beautiful.
Well, fantastic.
It's so tender, and I love the little crispy crust on the Basque chilies. I've never had salmon that's cured in apple before.
Yeah, and it added some acid to it, so it counteracts the fattiness of it, which is fun.
Wow.
Lots of flavor. So good.
So what do you think of that with the Chocolina? Is this for me, Matthew?
It is.
Thank you, Matthew. You guys can't see Matthew, but he's behind the scenes making this all happen, okay?
I love these two together.
This is
And it's
fantastic.
kind of like it's just a little party going on. It's a little zippy and fun. Really
Okay.
gets your taste buds going.
So if you guys want to stop and then do the next course, now's a good time. But other than that, as I'm getting ready, I'll let these guys talk more about Chocolina in the vineyard. Sure. But I'll start getting ready for the next course.
So Chocolina is a really traditional wine all across this northern part of Spain. This one is from Chocolina Guetárica. There are several Chocolina regions, and all of them hug that northern Cantabrian coast. So this winery, Gainza, is from way, way high up on the hill outside of San Sebastian. It's one of the most breathtaking views that you can see. I'll try and get you all a photo to look at. And Gainza means up above. So literally this vineyard is sort of clinging to very steep hillsides with a view of the entire bay and an awesome surf break and the beautiful island that really is so iconic right off that coast of San Sebastian. Chocolina is a style So the grapes in here are Ondurabi Zuri and Ondurabi Belza and Gros Manseg. But what I think is so fantastic about this pairing is that a pepper, like this Basque pepper, brings a little bit of heat and almost sort of a prickliness to it sometimes, which is offset really nicely by that fried shell you've got on it.
Right.
And chacoli in this style does often have a little bit of an effervescence. So I thought when I first took my bite that the effervescence, that sort of dance that the bubbles do in your mouth, went really, really well with that heat.
Absolutely.
And the fattiness from the fried shell on the pepper. And then a wine like this that grows in such a cool region has a lot of malic acid, and the way that we describe malic acid is by comparing it to green apples. So really,
Perfect.
this is a match made in heaven. It's a perfect pairing.
All right, nailed it. Okay.
You nailed it.
So nailed it.
Cheers.
All right. So our next course, again, this is going to be really simple, guys, because this is a chilled peach soup. And I have the wine behind Beth. And so what we've done with the soup you're going to get is we have beautiful peaches. We've put these in our juicer, our centrifugal juicer, with lemongrass, lime leaves, a little ginger, a little Fresno chili, and some of this wine. So we've used a little bit of this wine in the soup too. And then, again, like I mentioned, everything's color-coded. So we have everything with a yellow dot on it is going to be for the soup. So we think that's kind of easy so you can know what's going on here. And I'm just going to pour this in this little bowl for these guys. And again, chilled peach soup. Here we have the coconut, I call them coconut clouds because it's whipped coconut milk. And I'm just going to put this on the soup off the side here. It's going to stay floating on it so it doesn't get all mixed up. Okay. And then I'm going to put the garnish on here. This little garnish is carrots, coconut, young coconut, and pickled Fresno peppers. And I'm just going to put a little bit on here for a little bit of garnish. And then we have, so this is how I would suggest presenting it. You could also present all this little veggie on the side. You could use your soup spoon and put all the garnish in that soup spoon next to the plate. And that's a fun way so the guests have that with them, you know. So I'm just going to stack it right on the side. And then really important, we have mint and cilantro. And when I ate this, the mint and cilantro were super important to the depth of the soup. So a little bit of mint and cilantro with this. And then my chef Gabe, who's going to be periodically showing up today to assist me. He's the chef at Rioja, everybody. He also made some really fun young coconut chips. So a little young coconut chip right here. Again, you can just stand right here with me, and we'll be doing this. So this is, so really for you at home, it's all done for you. You just need to present it, and this is how I would suggest to present it. Again, put the soup in front of the ladies like this. And then let's see how we did with this next pairing, because this is my thing, you know? And you can't lie to me. If you fib to me, I would know it. No bullshit around here, okay? No bullshit around here. I know this kind of stuff, all right? All right. So let me see what you guys think.
Okay.
All right.
I love it with the fattiness. And again, with the heat. Super fun.
And the combination of textures.
Yeah.
So the really delicate herbs, the cold sort of silky soup, the creamy coconut, and then that super crisp coconut. Wow.
Isn't that fun? Those coconut chips?
Yes.
The pickled veggies too.
Yeah, a little bit of pickle
Wow.
because the soup can be sweet. Peaches can almost be too sweet sometimes.
To get the pickle.
Yeah.
That's really, really
And the
fun.
pepper with the heat and the sweet, which is so nice.
What did you do with the coconut? Because these coconut chips are fantastic.
You know, Gabe takes young coconut and he like chunks the skin off it. It's kind of hard. You have to kind of hammer it and you chisel that shell off of it. And then he slices it thin and puts a little simple syrup and dehydrates it.
Oh, it looks beautiful and it tastes beautiful.
Tastes
This
great?
is really, really fun.
Okay, so how's the pairing? I think, Beth, this is me, right? Or is that
that is you.
Thanks, Bethy. I'm gonna come
So
over.
you used some of the wine in the soup.
I did.
The pairing's fantastic. The first thing that's jumping out at me is this really pretty herbal note. And the mint. The mint is really
so
just
important,
ideal with this, and it's so in
Yeah.
season right now. So I guess mint's always in season, but it's so perfect with the summery flavors, and the heat again works really well with the wine. So
It's so subtle too.
it is, but there's also an herbal
nice.
note in this wine, and
You
so
know
the
you're right.
cilantro and the mint in the
Bring
soup
that out.
really draw that out as I'm drinking the wine. I notice it much more with
Yeah.
the soup than without, and that's the best thing about great pairings with food and wine is that together they're even better than they each are by themselves.
Yeah.
And this wine's great by itself, and this soup is fantastic
Yeah.
by itself. So way to go!
Super
All right.
fun. Both courses, the wine definitely and the food together change
They do.
dramatically, and
Yeah.
they're so good because they just enhance one another, and I just love that.
They
Super
enhance,
fun.
exactly. So I'll tell you a little bit about the wine since
Yeah.
we're here to learn about food and wine. So this is Armas de Guerra, and it's certainly a play on words. You can see that this is an old-fashioned vineyard tool. So Armas de Guerra does translate to weapons of war, and the war that these farmers wage every day in the vineyard is against Mother Nature or against the elements. So it's hard work. The Guerra family are heading up the oldest winery in all of Bierzo, and Bierzo has the oldest vineyards in all of Spain. So it really is a kind of a legendary historic place and establishment. They're some of the largest landowners in the area. They've been there for so very long, but they only use 10% of their own fruit to make their own wine. So they have a lot of quality to select from. This wine is mostly Doña Blanca, which is a grape that a lot of us won't have heard of. Drinks very nicely when young. It also has great aging capacity. And 15% of this is Godello, so that's a grape that's more familiar and which we'll visit more with our next course. And I just have to slip in a story. When we got to visit here, this is right along that Camino de Santiago in the north of Spain, and we were standing in the vineyard and we were tasting these wines with the winemakers, and I remember hearing some noise behind us, and we turned around and here come a bunch of pilgrims with their packs and their sticks, their walking sticks and their big sun hats. And the tradition is that if a pilgrim comes along, you offer them what you have, whether it's food or drink. And of course, I think the pilgrims love seeing groups of people in the wineries out in the vineyards. So
Yeah,
Imagine that.
they moseyed over and said hello, and we all chatted, and we offered them wine and some of the food that we had. And I remember at some point that day, I just remember hearing Chef Jen say, you know what? It might have had something to do with the fact that we were having such a nice time, but she just said, this wine tastes like sunshine.
Yeah.
And it always makes me smile. Every time I drink this, I think of that.
Well, I
So-
tell people that I'm made up of rosé and sunshine. So this is not rosé, but I tell people that
This is the other part.
if you want to make me happy, rosé and sunshine are my thing.
It's perfect,
Yeah.
but it's delicious, and thanks so much for coming up with such a beautiful pairing.
I
Okay,
think
good.
this one's fascinating because literally the trail goes right through their vineyard.
It does.
It's amazing. I really thought that we were being a little exaggerate,
Yeah.
but it literally goes right through there.
Cuts
It's
right
pretty
through.
amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty
People
fun.
just walking along with their hats and their walking sticks and big backpacks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this really genuinely is part of the Camino de Santiago, which
Very
is
cool.
fun to be able to sample from for this series.
And I just loved Bierzo. When we're driving along, is cut in the hillsides, right? And you just go through these valleys, and
It
it's
is.
just so
Yeah.
so amazing.
It's the very last approach to those mountains as you're leaving Castilla y León to cross through into Galicia, which
Yeah.
is where we'll go with our next one. We're walking west.
Okay, so for our next course, guys, I hope you enjoyed the soup and the mousse-bouche. We are going to work on the quail. The quail is the first thing that we're going to do that we're actually going to start cooking with. So I have all the mise en place out here for the quail. The quail is the red dot. And again, on that instructions, you'll have everything kind of laid out with what it is. I will say the parsley has a red and a green dot because you're going to use it half for the quail and half for the next course, tuna, just so you know not to use it all. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do with the quail, Gabe and I have cooked this quail most of the way for you, so you really don't have to worry too much. I'm sorry, Gabe.
Nope.
About it, but I do need you to season it. And I have a pan going on the stove, a little bit of oil here. We're going to put a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper on each piece of quail. Pardon my picture. Okay. And then the breast side, or the presentation side, is what we're gonna sear in the pan first. So we always try to sear the presentation side first, so it looks really pretty. And again, one of the things that I want you guys to do is have some tricks that we use at the restaurant to keep stuff looking really, really fun. So my pan is hot, my pan is smoking. I'm gonna put the quail in away from me so it doesn't splash me. Okay. And we're gonna get some nice color. So I just have canola oil in that pan. Like I said, salt, pepper. We're gonna let that get nice and brown. When that does, we're gonna pop it in the oven. The oven is at 375, and we'll let that cook at 375 for 5 minutes. So inside the quail, we've stuffed it with a quail sausage. It's quail and chicken, and there's a little tarragon in it. Dave, what else is in that sausage?
Fennel pollen, garlic, onion powder, salt and pepper.
So very simple,
basic, yeah.
very simple, really beautiful. I think you're gonna love it with this wine. And then we're also gonna start the risotto at the same time. So as this is browning, and Gabe's gonna help me keep an eye on this guy, I think I'm gonna push this to this burner here, Gabe, and I'm gonna come up front. Is that okay? All right. So for the risotto, you guys, this is not a classical risotto. This is gonna be a grain risotto. We have whole grains. We buy these from Anson Mills and we cook them off. Inside here we have Sonoran wheat berries, Faro Verde, and rye berries. And then in the other containers marked risotto is we have the actual par-cooked rice. So I'm going to take both of these, put them in my pan with some of my chicken stock. Don't add all this stock. I gave you guys extra stock because sometimes the stock evaporates faster or slower depending on the heat in your pan. So I'm going to put all the grains in here and the rice. Then I'm going to put half of the chicken stock in here. And I have a wooden spoon here. And I'm going to stir this, guys. We've already cooked the rice 3/4 of the way for you. So the timing should be perfect for the grains and the rice to cook at the same rate. All right? So, how's that looking, Gabe? About ready to go in the oven?
Looking good.
Down. Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Pop that, guys. Here you go. You want to pop it in?
Yeah.
All right. Open that up.
And then
Watch out for Chester.
we'll pick your
Yeah. Yeah. Put that in the oven. Okay. So now while that's going, I can finish my risotto. And Gabe, how about you stir that for me?
Cool.
Even though this is not a classical risotto, I still think you should stir it all the time to release the starch from that rice, to make it creamier. We have a couple things to finish that risotto with. We have a little grated manchego cheese, keeping in the Spanish style, sheep's milk cheese, and butter. Again, I gave you extra butter. You're not going to use all of it unless you want to. I do love butter. And then we have some sliced grapes and picked parsley that we're going to put in the salad. Or not really salad, it's more like a compote for this quail. Sliced red grapes, parsley, and then fennel pollen. So fennel pollen, definitely, I want to know what you think about the Godello with the fennel pollen. And I'm sorry, is this one pronounced Godello or Godeo?
Uh-huh, yep.
Yep, both? Yep, okay. Okay, because sometimes that it confuses me.
Depends on what part of Spain you grew up in. So I think for us Yanks, we just get to pick which one we like to say better.
Okay, so it depends on what part of Spain. Because I know in Italy, of course, you pronounce those L's. There's a little extra virgin olive oil. We're going to drizzle just a little bit of that on here. Not much fat is needed on here. Really, we want the bright freshness of the parsley and the grapes to be fresh and bright. The fennel pollen, again, I gave you more fennel pollen than you need. So a little sprinkle
ready.
on there. I think that looks nice, a little sprinkle. And then, thank you, Gabe. So, and then I have some Malden salt. But let's come over to the risotto because Gabe's got the rice. Have we tasted it to see if it's cooked? Let's taste that. So I want you guys to know how to taste it. It's good. The grains are going to be a little chewy. You want them a little chewy, but you don't want like raw rice kernel. So at this point, it is cooked. Gabe has cooked most of the stock out. we're gonna mount it with butter and manchego. All right, so we're gonna put the butter in here, and then manchego. And then what I'm gonna do too, so this dish doesn't have a sauce per se, but I really feel like risotto should be loose. So I'm gonna put a little more stock in here so the risotto is creamy and it's saucy, if that makes sense, for the cheese and butter. So I don't want it thick, I want it really nice and saucy. And sometimes that rice and those grains, they really absorb the stock. So you might need more than you think. What do you think, Dave? Let's taste that. Okay. So very important to taste your risotto along the way. This probably needs salt and pepper. Oh my God, it's so good. What happened? This is delicious.
Did we break it?
Did we? I think we did good, babe. You guys are gonna love this. This is so good. Oh, and sunflower seeds. I forgot my favorite thing in the risotto. So all these different grains, I have some toasted sunflower seeds also in there, which I think are really fun for a little bit of crunch. Okay, so Gabe, do you want to taste that too to see what you think? Yeah, see what you think. Teeny bit more sauce. Okay. Enough butter and cheese.
Yep.
Tastes great.
Great.
Okay, so let's put that in these bowls. So we have a nice bowl ready. It doesn't have to go in a bowl. You guys can put this on a plate. I know in Italy, risotto always goes on a plate. They don't, like.
I love it in a bowl.
Yeah, so put this on here. And then, so it's nice timing. Once you put the quail in the oven, then you have 5 minutes to make this risotto. Ooh, it looks good. Quail.
That looks delicious.
I can't wait. You guys have to share with this for me, you guys, okay?
We'll get some extra.
They haven't been sharing, Gabe.
That's how we are.
I know, these people. We're not going to invite you back, Jen, unless you share. Okay?
I promise.
Okay. Okay, so this looks great. And then we're going to take the quail out of the oven. Gabe, it looks fantastic.
Oh, it smells so good.
We're going to take this quail out of the oven. Okay, so put this quail on here. Beautiful, Gabe. Let's do it. Put them on here. And then I like to take the salad. I mix it up. Just a little off to the side. Don't cover it up. Don't cover up everything. A little pile. Looks beautiful.
Wow.
Okay, ladies,
Should we
so
slice?
let's see.
Wow.
Tell me what you think about this pairing, okay?
This looks amazing.
And is this, did I get poured
Beautiful.
some of the wine?
You did.
Yes.
Okay, good.
You did.
Absolutely.
Because party foul if Beth misses me.
I would not miss you.
Okay.
I don't like to drink
Just
alone.
want to let you know.
Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Look at that. Oh, look at the sausage.
You see
in
the
there.
sausage in there?
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
This
perfect. Sausage is
really
fully cooked and the
delicious.
quail is still medium. That's
Perfect.
exactly how I'd like it.
Oh my
Ah.
goodness.
Yeah.
This looks amazing.
Okay.
My mouth just flooded. I can't wait.
Okay. Let me know what
Wow.
you guys think. And that quail, the only bones that are on there is that tiny wingtip bone and then a tiny like little quail drumstick bone, if that makes any sense. Everything else is boneless inside that quail.
Wow.
So that's important to know at home.
Drumstick. I love that.
Yeah, right. His little wingtip.
Yeah.
His little
Little nibble.
yeah, his little wingtip, but good. And
Oh my gosh.
what do you guys
That
think?
is a little bite of everything with the sausage and the risotto.
Mm-hmm.
A little grape.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
It's
guys,
just
let me
so
see.
good.
And the
And this one-
sunflowers in the risotto are such a
little- isn't that
fun
fun?
surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I love it with this wine because it's just the body of this wine really holds up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so fun. I'm so happy. I
It's
really like
really,
that. Sorry.
really delicious.
Nailed it, chef. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it, Gabe.
Gabe, would you like a little dig in here?
Yeah. So, what do you think about that fennel pollen playing with the?
Oh, it brings in a whole nother dimension of sort of a low-toned herbal floral note almost.
It plays really well with the sausage.
Uh-huh. And the sausage, yes. Because of the herbal notes that are in the sausage as well. And then the fresh parsley, the sweet grapes,
gosh.
the little bit of sort of a soft crunch in the
Yeah.
risotto with the sunflower seeds.
Good.
Wow.
All right. All right. So, Jen, tell us about the wine while I'm getting ready.
Of course.
So good.
So, our next wine, very much in keeping with the theme of Camino de Santiago, this is Castello del Papa, Papa Godello. Papa is in reference to the Pope, because of course we're on a pilgrimage to see a very holy place. So Castello del Papa is the house of the Pope, but we call it Papa Godello.
Could be Godello or Godello.
And it's a grape that's really known for its texture. So I love talking about Godello in comparison to, imagine an unoaked Chardonnay, because it's got that weight and it fills up your mouth and it really stands up to big flavors. This wine is the first region in our trip today, from Valdeorras.
Oh,
So
yes.
we've crossed through those mountains you were talking about in Bierzo. We're heading west. We went through a big range of mountains out of Castilla and we've now come into the highest altitude, most inland part of Galicia. This zone is called Valdeorras. When it's Valdeorras, the Romans called it this, it's the Valley of Gold.
Oh.
And it was one of the only places in this part of Spain where the Romans found it to be warm enough. Galicia is that northwestern corner and it's quite cool and foggy and misty.
Right.
And Valdeorras is warm enough where the Romans could plant olives.
Yeah.
And when you're a Roman, you've got to have olive oil.
Absolutely.
It's life. So if you find a place where you can grow grapes, have fresh water, and grow olives, you're pretty much
golden.
gonna set up shop.
Yeah.
So 2,000 years of winemaking history here, and the soil is slate and granite, so really pretty mineral note
Nice.
that runs right through this wine. A beautiful textural element that's just an indigenous grape to northwestern Spain, and I hope just really all around enjoyable. But I love the way that the texture and the herbal notes in the wine again are picking up so much of the flavor that's in this dish.
The body's really fantastic, and this is unoaked, right?
It is unoaked.
Unoaked, yeah.
Yes.
So you get it still. You can still get a really nice, beautiful mouthfeel to it without it being overly cloying and whatnot. I really do like this. Pretty.
For sure, it's a light finish. It goes down pretty easy, so I will issue a word of warning.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely a little porch powder for sure. As the first two were as well.
Yes. These are not hard drinking wines, but beautiful nonetheless. So we started out with a really lean and fresh and sort of austere Chacolina, and then the Armas de Guerra Blanco, which has a little more brightness, sort of that apple note, and also, plenty of sunshine in the bottle. And then Papa Godello, which is a little more textural, a little more silky, a little more luscious. Flavors here do have some, as I mentioned before, herbal notes, but also trending towards melons.
Right.
And those types of sort of more nectar, melony kinds of fruits. So really with this bright, clean richness that's in the grapes and the quail here. Okay,
These three whites were perfect for like a spring, part of summer, and then into like really the heat of the summer. Like you can really see the transition of how they are on the mouthfeel and the vibrancy of them too. I think it's super fun.
I'm just amazed with these pairings though.
All right, I like it. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna get ready for the next dish. And we are gonna do, so obviously if you wanna stop and enjoy your quail, please do so. And if you'd like to continue on and make tuna, let's talk about tuna. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed the quail. I love that dish. I think Gabe and I might put on the menu at Rioja because we're pretty happy with it. And that Godello was delicious.
It's such a treat.
Yeah. So now, which sounds kind of interesting, we're gonna go to tuna. So a lot of times we don't go from meat back to fish, but I think tuna can go with a lot of red wine, and I think it goes great with this red wine. And this is a beautiful harpoon-caught bluefin tuna off the Atlantic coast, and it's sustainable because it's harpoon-caught. And I know Beth knows we only buy sustainable fish at our restaurants. It's really important to us that we don't buy anything that's overfished. And usually bluefin tuna is, but because they literally throw a harpoon, catch it like that, and they're not getting all this bycatch, it's okay.
Wow.
And it's
Isn't it
gorgeous.
crazy? I know. You would
So-
think this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the mise en place for this dish, mise en place, everything in its place. We have our tuna, we have our caponata, our little eggplant pillows, our olive sauce, our lemon confit, our squash ribbons and curls, our parsley. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to cook these pillows. Now, it is important to have a pan that's warm but not smoking hot. This is an eggplant mousse, and on the outside of this is a feuille de brique. Feuille de brique is a French term, and it's a type of crepe. And if you put it in way too hot of a pan, it'll burn. So we have to be very careful. Medium hot pan. So I have my pan here, and I am going to put this in here, let this go. You see it didn't start smoking right away, but if it does, I'm just gonna pull it off the fire. So these pillows have been folded, and the double fold, we're gonna start there because that's thicker. So I'm gonna put this again. I have the oil, I push it away from me so I don't splash myself, and I'm gonna put it in here. So this pan is a nice temperature. You can see it's not sizzling too fast. I am actually gonna turn it up now. There we go. And I'm going to cook the tuna in the same pan. I have a little tray off to the side here. After I toast these nice and get them brown on both sides, I'll put this in the oven. The oven's still at 375, so it's going to be just fine. The thing is with this feuille de brique, this pastry dough, we want it to be crunchy. So you want enough oil in this pan to get this crunchy all the way through. I put a little bit more oil in there. Almost a shallow fry. I think that's really good. If you don't get it crunchy enough, it won't be palatable, I think. So nice and crunchy. You can see it sizzling in the pan. I'm not going to mess with it for now, but I will season my tuna. Again, salt and a little bit of black pepper, not too much. You know, you guys notice if you see the videos that we do, I don't use a lot of white pepper. Here and there I do. I just love the flavor of black pepper. White pepper is not generally one of my favorite flavors. Ah, thank you, Gabe. Okay, so a little bit of black pepper for my pepper mill. And, all right. Okay, so Gabe's checking those guys, and, you know, it's not, you see it's only lightly golden. So we want this to get all the way dark brown, a deep golden brown. But we can also start to put some stuff on the plate. In our little deli, we have this caponata. And now, caponata is an Italian eggplant condiment usually. And this is maybe a loose interpretation of it. Usually it'll have capers and golden raisins in it. But this one has pine nuts and dried pomegranates in it. And I think the dried pomegranates are wonderful. So we've salted some eggplant, and we've diced it, Japanese eggplant. And the salt will pull some moisture out of the eggplant, and the salt will also pull some bitterness out of the eggplant. And that is really important. And we put that eggplant on some towels for about an hour or two, and it pulls the moisture out of it, and then we saute it in olive oil. It's beautiful brown and really rich and delicious. Okay, so I'm going to put a little mound on this plate. All right. And then Gabe is checking how are they looking? Oh, they're looking good. Okay. Yeah, so we'll turn that guy over. Beautiful. Okay, so the other thing we have going is we have this olive sauce. So very simple. We've taken oil-cured olives and red verjus. So verjus is an unfermented grape juice. So before they make beautiful grape juice into wine, and it's not fermented, it's verjus.
It's the must.
So it's delicious. So we buy beautiful verjus. We buy white and red at the restaurant. It's one of my favorite condiments. Unlike vinegar, it's not so sharp.
But it's not it's not cooked down.
No,
it's
not
fresh...
cooked down at all. It's fresh. It's
wow,
delicious.
no wonder.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so this is just oil-cured olives, red verjus, and a little extra virgin olive oil. And I am going to put this on the plate. And you see Gabe has flipped these beautiful guys here. They're crunchy. And as soon as that side gets golden, he's going to put it on a tray. We'll pop it in the oven. So again, we want you to be a little fancy at home for the wine dinner. So we're going to put the sauce on. I'm going to put a little drop here, and then just kind of pull out a little dot with it so it looks kind of like we do at the restaurant. Just kind of abstract. You don't need a lot of this sauce because the oil-cured olives are very strong. I don't think you need too much of this. You want to be gentle with it. But we have extra. You can always put more on the plate for your guests if they like that. All right, so Gabe has the pillows, and then once those pillows come out, we're going to pop those in the oven just so the filling inside there gets warm. Okay, so the pan is hot. Now I'm going to put in the tuna. And again, I know I mentioned it with the quail and the duck. I would take the tuna out an hour before you want to cook it as well. So take the quail, the tuna, and the duck all out. Let them sit on your counter for at least an hour, hour and a half before you cook the meal. And that tuna is going to come to temperature as well. I personally like my tuna rare.
Absolutely.
Especially tuna
that
this delicious.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't want it ice cold in the middle.
Yeah.
So if I cook it rare, it might be ice cold in the middle if it comes out of the fridge. So I like to let it temper a little bit. And then if your pan is nice and hot, we're just gonna kind of sear it on all sides. You can see Chef Gabe is just kind of turning this guy, and it looks beautiful. And then everything else is gonna go on the plate. So the other thing that I have here is some squash ribbons. Aren't these fun?
They're beautiful.
So we sliced these on our mandolin, and we've sliced them all for you. And then we also have parsley. Again, we shared that parsley from the last dish. So parsley, and we're gonna put in this confit lemon. And this is the one thing, Jen, that I wanna make sure goes good with this wine, because lemon and wine, that could be a problem, you know? So I'm gonna put this confit lemon with the parsley, a little bit of the juice in here, and then a little bit of that extra virgin olive oil I gave you guys, and a little of the Maldon salt. So that's gonna be our salad. And again, you'll notice, like, I want fresh herbs. So you have earthy flavors. The eggplant, the squash will be fresh. This will be bright. The tuna will be, you know, so different flavors, different textures, all these different things going with the wine is what we're going for. So the plate, isn't monotonous. I know the wine's not monotonous.
There is definitely a lot going on this plate with the
Yeah.
wine, so this is gonna be super fun.
Okay, so Gabe seared our tuna. I'll put this off to the side so we can see this. I am gonna slice this, and you have to have a nice sharp knife to slice it. If at home you don't want to slice it, you don't have to, because I don't want you guys to shred it. But we'll just slice this into 3 beautiful pieces. Gorgeous,
That
gorgeous
is
tuna.
gorgeous.
And that took you all of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, if it's tempered, it's going to be beautiful, and the tuna quality is so nice. Perhaps a little Maldon salt on the tuna, you know, right there. And then we'll take out these pillows. All right. So we'll put our little pillow right on here. Right on here. And then our tuna just right here.
That looks beautiful.
Beautiful, right? Okay, and now we're gonna be fancy. We have to be fancy. So I'll turn this so hopefully everybody can see this towards the guest a little bit better. And we have some yellow squash and some green squash. I'm just gonna stand these up. Now these are kind of naked right now, but I'm gonna put that salad on them. Now you have all these kind of heavy, big flavors. So the squash and the parsley and the lemon are gonna relieve the palate, so everything's not heavy. And I think that's super important. I'm gonna give you guys extra. So the squash goes on here. Then I like to put the parsley and lemon right on there. So even though I didn't put dressing on there, you're gonna eat it with that, and
So
it's
this
gonna
is
have
pure fresh squash.
exactly raw squash, not cooked.
Thank goodness I have something more to do
Okay.
with zucchini.
Okay, so you have zucchinis in your
For all of you
garden.
that have the squash and zucchini
Yeah.
in your garden, this is perfect. You
Yeah.
can eat it just raw. It's beautiful.
And if you guys don't know, the dogs are hanging out right below us here because
They're
they're
super
hoping
happy.
for some snacks. Okay, so I think that looks
Looks gorgeous.
fantastic.
It's beautiful.
So
Ah, it's beautiful.
I think that looks great.
Very
And
fancy.
a little fancy.
Yeah.
And let's see what we think with the wine though, because I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm excited to get a bite
love
with the
it.
wine as well. Yeah, I'm excited.
Gosh, where to start?
We have a tough job today.
I know.
I know, you guys.
I know. I have to
You
say,
guys did a good job today.
I kind of did. Yeah.
Well, it's good, Beth. You work your booty off,
It's all
so you
about-
got to get the good stuff, right?
It's all about who you know.
That it is.
Beth and I have been business partners for 20 years, and you know she brings the wine, I bring the food, so it's a pretty good
It
deal.
works out pretty good.
Good
Pretty
arrangement.
good
Yes,
deal.
it does.
I want everything in this bite, but it's going to be a very
Yes.
big bite.
That lemon in that dish
Yeah, the dish.
is so good.
You know, I made it the first time, and it was just off a little bit, and it needed that lemon. So Gabe and I yesterday, and you know what we do for this lemon confit? We peel lemons, we take all the white pith out, we julienne them really thin, then we put them in our pressure cooker. We put them in a pressure cooker with a little bit of simple syrup for 4 minutes, and they're perfect.
Wow.
That's our trick.
They really are. They're so
4
bright.
minutes
They
in a
don't
pressure
taste.
cooker.
They don't taste cooked, but they
Yeah.
also don't taste raw.
Yeah, but sometimes when you cook them on the stove, they can get caramelized because when you usually cook, you slowly cook lemons and sugar on the stove, and the sugar starts to caramelize.
that lemon comes out in the wine in a really complimentary way.
It's a perfume.
Yeah, it's
Isn't it?
really beautiful. It's fresh. It makes it really, really fresh.
I won't lie, I was a little nervous.
Okay.
Because lemon can overpower.
It can,
Lemon
yeah.
can be really tough in a pairing.
And it's a different, I
If it's
thought
a- if
it
it's
might
a-
be a different direction than the flavor profile of this wine goes, because it's,
Right.
you know, I think about this wine with like earthy flavors and mushrooms and the tunas and the grains, all of these things, the eggplant made sense. But I thought lemon, okay.
Yeah.
But you know what, Jen? When you taste this together, the lemon it picks up this really pretty little high-pitched perfume note that's in the wine, but I didn't notice it before the food.
I didn't notice it in the wine.
Again, it's
but I
they're
noticed
bringing
it
things
right
out.
away.
They're
Well,
bringing things
yeah.
out together, yeah.
You know, and so sometimes when you pair wines, you want to pair similar, and sometimes you want it to bring out different flavors, right? So it just depends. So yeah, let's see. And now I'm so glad. Let's
Do you have a
see.
glass? Good.
It
I
really
do.
brings it. They're just so perfect together.
Yes.
Like they play on the eggplant, it
And-
plays on the zucchini, and the squash. The squash, I love
The
it.
squash.
The
So tell us
squash.
more about the wine.
Sure. So Alanda, we all remember cartoons. Andale, andale, arriba, arriba.
Yeah.
Right. So think about Speedy Gonzales a little bit, because Alanda is a word that roots in the Moorish culture of Allah. Ojalá means I hope. Alanda means get on with it. So sort of that andale,
Love it.
andale means let's go. So this is a wine which is actually, again, a nod to the Camino de Santiago, because pilgrims, by the time they reach a point that's this close to Santiago de Compostela, are tired. And so many times pilgrims on the return will give encouragement and say things like, Alanda, Alanda, and keep going,
Okay.
keep going.
Keep going.
So
Okay.
there's a little bit of that history and sort of encouragement and cultural influence here with the name. The wine itself comes from a region called Monterrey, which is right on the border of Spain and Portugal, but farther off the sea.
They're so good.
There is a little brininess to it, though. Do you?
There it is.
Do you-
It's
okay.
a lot of granite
Yeah.
soils,
Okay.
decomposed granite, which is sand. The grape varieties are all indigenous, local grapes that most people will not have heard of from Monterrey. So Mencía, which we have in Bierzo and in Valdeorras as well, Bastardo, and Garnacha Tintorera, which is a clone of Garnacha, which is a slightly different version. This winemaker, Jose Luis Mateo, has been recognized as one of the most dynamic up-and-coming winemakers. He's been at it for quite a long time, but it's a very sleepy little pocket of Spain, super steep, difficult to get to, and I would say it's becoming forgotten about, but it never really was on the big radar. So it really is sort of a treasure find that Alberto, one of our founders, identified a few years
I
back.
like the
And
kind of austerity of it. Like
I was just gonna say, I'm actually thinking, if I had blind taste this,
Yeah.
I would go Italy. I
Okay.
would, yeah,
There's an
I
earthy
absolutely
note.
would. The earthiness to it is not like overly fruit, but it's got so much structure and so much body going on with it still not tiring your palate,
yes,
which I think is really important.
And so Galicia reds are a bit hard to come by. It's a region that has a lot of cool climate influence from the sea. Remember,
Right.
we're on the other side now of that
Totally.
mountain range that cuts Castilla y León off from Galicia. This is the warmest part of Galicia, though.
Ah,
It
that
sits
makes
just above the Douro River Valley. So some of that heat from the Douro comes up and meets the cool influence in Galicia. And you get this really
Love that.
pretty play of floral notes, nice fruit, but higher acid as well. And this winemaker is
Yeah.
a very hands-off kind of winemaker. All of his farming is very thoughtful in terms of the environment. He uses practices in the biodynamic
Nice.
agricultural field, which is a whole, we could do an entire
Yes.
session on
Oh,
that.
gosh, absolutely.
But certainly lots of nods to organic agriculture and just making sure that he's doing the right thing now that will benefit the land in 30 years or 50 years.
It's awesome.
So beautiful, tiny production, hundreds of cases, not
I love that.
tens of thousands, and beautiful. So when you chose this wine to pair, I was just thrilled. And gosh, now looking at the pairing, this is delightful.
I think
good.
this is perfect for Jen's style of food.
Yeah.
Anything bigger than this, since her flavors are so delicate and layered, that a wine like this, it doesn't come out of the gate and just pungent. Like it just needs to sit with it, and they marry very nicely. Yeah, it's perfect.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
So, we, again, feel free to stop right now, enjoy the dish, or... All right, so we are ready to do our final savory course, which is the duck breast. We have some beautiful duck breasts that we've already rendered off for you. This is important. We have scored one side of the skin. That scoring will help it not shrink, and it also help channel the fat away. And it's been seasoned, so you don't need to season this again. We have our plums, we have our croquettes, we have our plum sauce, we have roses and pea shoots. So I'm going to get started first with getting the duck cooking in my pan on the stove. I need a little bit of oil, and I'm going to put it back on the skin side because we have crisped it up, but because we sent it to you at home, it needs to be re-crisped. So we're going to put the duck in the pan, and simultaneously, these are the faro croquettes. So this is in Spain, there's croquetas de jamón, which are one of my favorite things. This doesn't have ham in it, but it has faro verde in it. And again, that Anson Mills smoky faro verde inside this kind of heavy bechamel base. It's a creamy base. It's going to be beautiful flavor. So we're going to get, again, maybe like a shallow fry. So I have canola oil. I'm going to put it in this other pan. So a pretty good amount of oil in there, maybe 2 ounces. I have it on low. I'm going to turn it up to about medium. Again, we don't want to brown the outside where the inside cooks on this. So we want to toast the breadcrumbs on the outside, and then we want to put it in the oven to get warm. If we go too fast, we'll burn it. So that's a very important fact also. So again, I'm going to put this in this pan. And it's not quite hot enough. So when I put this in the pan, it's not sizzling. It's telling me don't go. So I'm going to hold on a second. If you put these croquettes in the pan now, they're going to absorb the oil. If the oil's hot enough, it'll crisp and it won't absorb the oil. So it's really important for it not to be greasy. So I'll hold for a minute there. There's always time to do it perfect. No rush in making something right. While I'm waiting, my plum sauce, which is already done, which this sauce is some beautiful plums, and I actually cooked it with some Rosé Chocolina. Now I know that doesn't match this wine, but I wanted to cook the plums in a little kind of effervescent Rosé Chocolina. And I'm going to put that in my little tiny cute little pot here. And all we need to do with this is just get it warm. We don't need to reduce this in any way. Just get it warm. And I have like a little sauce pot here. I just love how cute it is. It makes me so happy. All right, so, now we're sizzling, so we're good. So we can put these croquettes in here. So at the restaurant, we have these in little balls, and we deep fry them. But you can also make this in a pan fry, and so you can see really nicely that these are going to be sizzling in their oil. So I'm going to put this back on flat. And actually what I'll do, let me get a better view here, Gabe, is maybe we'll put that here. Because the duck's not doing much, and that is sizzling. So you can see them sizzling away. You can see the oil bubbling right here. The duck, we're getting, look at that beautiful color we're getting on the duck. So now we're going to turn that over. Okay? And now, depending on how you want your duck cooked, I like medium rare, but you can have it any way you like. If you like it more than medium rare, you can put it in the oven for maybe 4 to 5 minutes. I like my medium rare. You can finish it right on top of the stove. So I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to keep a little stir in my plum sauce here. And check these guys. They're looking good. I'm just turning it up to high. I think high
Smells so
fine.
good.
Here, I'm on this high. Kind of a tricky stove. I know. The tricky stove.
Different.
Yeah. Tricky business here.
Super tricky.
Very fancy.
I don't know how this dish would be
Yeah.
better than the rest, but I love duck.
Oh.
So it's one of my favorites, and with the sauce, it looks amazing. And plums right now are just at the height of their season, so how perfect is that?
And this duck that we get is a Rohan duck. It's a hybrid between a Pekin and a Muscovy. It's a really nice duck. Really ducky sounds stupid. Meaty, like
Right?
beefy, strong, meaty flavor. Different varieties of duck have different flavors. This one I think is great with the wine. We've made a little plum rose. And we have a little bit of pea shoots that one of our farmers grows for us. So I'm gonna put the pea shoots in my bowl with some organic rose petals.
Those are beautiful.
And they're beautiful and they're tasty and they're, obviously they're organic. There's no pesticides on them and roses are delicious to eat. We have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on that. Just a touch. A little bit of Maldon salt. And I'll mix that up in a second. Oh good, Gabe is flipping our croquettes. Perfect, so we'll put those down in a second here. You guys will see that they're beautiful golden. Excellent. Excellent. And so Gabe, why don't we pop those in the oven?
Yeah.
So I'll put my sauce here. Now we'll start to make the plate. So this plum sauce I'm going to put in the center of the plate. Oh here, let me move this. I think that's good. Okay, we'll put the plum sauce right in the middle of the plate. And you notice, you guys, I just got this sauce warm and I took it off. If you cook it too long, you'll take away that beautiful fruitiness. So just warm it. You don't want to take that away. I think the fruitiness will go great with this wine. And this is just a gorgeous wine. Jen's going to tell you about it in a minute. Talk food first. Okay. We have our beautiful plum rose. Put that off to the side here. And then Gabe has the stuff. Do you think it needs to go in the
You can
oven?
smell the plum
Right?
sauce.
I don't think so.
And that sounds
So it just needs to rest for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
The hardest part is
Yeah.
Pretty
waiting.
much there.
I know, right? Well, that's why you have wine. Keep you company and like anticipate.
So one of the fun things you guys have is a little atomizer with rose water.
So cool.
Now, what I tried to do at first was put the rose water in the sauce, but the heat dissipates the beautiful fragrance. So we have to put this on kind of last. So we're going to put this in the salad, a few sprays, and a few sprays on the plate. And you can, of course, get that beautiful aroma right now.
Oh,
and if
yeah.
you're done with it, we can just atomize ourselves because rose water is fabulous.
little
Anytime, okay?
extra for you.
So a little bit extra on me is fine. So, okay, being silly now. But it still is good.
It
Rose
is
water
good.
is really good for the skin.
It
So
is
I know
great.
that sounds funny, but
No,
it's
it is
really
great.
not a lie. All right. So we have these ducks, and we'll let that just sit a second. Let me get all this out of the way. All right. And Gabe, I think we can take those croquettes out of the oven. What do you think? All right, so we'll put the croquettes on. Yeah, so these ducks are beautiful. We're gonna let it rest a couple minutes on the cutting board. Again, I know we talked about letting the duck come out first, but again, after you cook it, letting it rest, letting that blood just settle is really important. And here is our croquettes. I'm gonna put a few of these on the plate all around. Thanks, baby.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, and they
Do you-
taste even better.
Do you do them flat so that they cook more evenly at home since you're not deep frying them?
Exactly. So at the restaurant, we do them in little balls, but we didn't want to have to get a deep fryer going at home. We
Right.
thought it'd be a little easier just to pan
Nice and
fry.
cleaner.
It's great. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And, Gabe and I, we tried this at the restaurant, and we thought, okay, this came out great. We can do this.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're trying to make it so you guys have the same experience at home.
With
But-
ease
Yeah,
and
but with
cleanliness.
ease. Yeah. And you don't have to have 3 quarts of oil going,
Yeah,
So
sometimes the restaurant
Right.
kitchen can get a little messy on
Yeah.
a grand scale.
a little?
A little. A little.
Sure, all these
And
people
Chester's
will,
not doing dishes, so
Yeah,
I mean, we
exactly.
talked.
He's on cleanup duty, but not doing dishes.
I'm sure
Okay.
he'd be happy to lick them clean.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna slice this duck. And by the way, duck, it can be chewy, so I like to have nice thin slices on it. And I'm gonna just arrange this so it looks beautiful. And I'm gonna eat those duck snacks. You guys don't get those; those are for me.
Well, we get a whole beautiful.
I know you guys are getting all the good stuff.
I'm
and
like, I'm not complaining.
I think Gabe and I
so.
are just getting the table scraps over
Yeah.
here.
By the way, if anybody's wondering, I probably have the best job in the world. By the way, I get to drink great wine, eat great food.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, pair it all up. Super fun.
Wow.
Wow.
And then, again, you notice this thing. I want something fresh and bright. I love how the pea shoots just look random and beautiful, and just however they fall is the right place to be.
That's gorgeous.
Towards camera.
And the rose is such
Yeah.
a beautiful detail.
And I'm gonna give another spritz of
And
rose
color,
water.
too. color of it's great.
Okay, so this is our duck, and that I think looks beautiful.
That looks
And
gorgeous.
is ready to go. Let's see how it pairs, Beth, with the wine,
Yeah.
and what you guys think. And Jen, after you try it, so
Wow.
again, you
Okay.
guys, this duck should be nice and easy to cook. We've already cooked it partially. The croquettes are ready to go. Everything is hopefully in a nice, simple manner where you guys can have a really fancy meal at home, just like you're at Rioja, except for little work, but kind of fun. So let's just see how this goes with the wine, and I'm interested to see too,
I'm
Gabe.
interested to taste this little rose petal.
Gabe, I don't know. Do you want some duck snacks, Gabe?
Yeah.
Okay, Gabe and
Are
I,
you sure?
since you guys don't give us anything good,
don't
Gabe
like
and I are
that.
gonna have
Yeah,
duck
we're
snacks.
just over here hogging it all.
Yeah,
And
I
the
think
wine.
so.
Ooh, this looks delicious.
Mm,
I love the fact that the little croquettes are like perfect.
it's
for-
excellent.
It's
Now-
delicious.
Of course, you guys can cook it at any temperature you want at home. If you want it, if you
So
want to use a
beautiful.
thermometer, and you want it medium rare, 135, Gabe,
Yep.
135 for duck.
125 I would go.
and then let it rest.
And let it rest.
Okay, so cook it to 125, but then let it rest. It'll keep cooking. And then, if you want it medium, maybe 140, go from there. If you want to use a thermometer. But again,
Try the rose.
It's really pretty.
The plum rose.
yeah. Right? How is
I
that?
had a bite of the fresh plum
Uh-huh.
rose with the
Both are
duck
delicious.
and the pea tendril.
Mm-hmm.
Because my first bite, I was all about the croquette and,
Okay.
and the duck. And it's so fresh and pretty.
One of the things I love about Jen's food 20 years later is like getting a bite of everything together. Really like
The perfect bite.
some people eat all their meat first and then all their potatoes first
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But really getting the whole bite together where you've got the duck and the sweetness of the plum and the herbaceousness of the peas and the beauty of like the roses, like a whole bite together is truly delicious. It's a work of art.
So how do
and
we
to go with a
how
wine
does it
like
go
this?
though? How does it go though? Because this looks like maybe it's too light for the wine, but what do you guys think
not
when
at
you
all.
eat it
No.
together?
It actually brightens it up.
It does. The duck has a really wonderful meatiness to it. It's a gamey, gamey in terms of poultry, not venison, but there's a gamey note. There's a strong but not overwhelming flavor, and that really wonderful earthiness that comes in duck, and then a bright pea tendril, and the roses are just a vision on the plate. They're beautiful. So this wine is Mencia. And it's
Mencia?
got a lot Mencia.
Okay.
Mencia.
Where are you from?
Where are you from?
Yes, depending on where you're from.
Just
So certainly a wine that has a lot of earthiness and dark mineral, but also really pretty sort of black cherries. It's easy to describe this wine similar to a Pinot Noir because it's softer tannins and higher acid, but it's not red cherries and leather. It's much
No.
more
No
black
leather.
cherries and graphite and those more dark mineral notes. This is grown in slate and granite soils. The wine is called Apportella. It's a special story because it comes from the vineyard, the property where Papa Godello is produced.
Oh.
We've worked with them for many years, and this wine is made by our co-founder, Alberto Orte. There's a really
Love him.
pretty little, right up on the top of the hill, an old vineyard parcel. And the hill is called Apportella, so it's a single vineyard up on the hill. And many of the vineyards in the area have been replanted to Godello because the grape does so well there.
Okay.
So we were afraid that this vineyard might go that way, and Alberto really wanted to preserve it. And
So
to,
what grapes are these?
It's Mencia.
All Mencia,
But it's
100%.
Mencia.
It's so interesting because this is so like feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So Valdeorras
Yeah.
is a region, I spoke a little bit, it's the first zone of Galicia.
Right.
You cross through those mountains out of Castilla y León in Bierzo, and you enter Valdeorras. And in Castilla y León, Bierzo, it's like Grand Junction. Okay, so imagine you're
Right.
driving, and
It's like
you leave
Grand
Grand Junction, and you pass through a magical tunnel, and on the other side is the Willamette Valley.
Yeah.
So you get some ocean air, some coolness from the ocean, some of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very windy road, so it's a long
Okay.
drive to get to the coast from here. But you do it's this sort of northwestern pocket of Spain, and then all of that cool ocean air crashes up against
Yeah.
those mountains, which you pass through to get to Castilla y León. So in Castilla y León, Bierzo, we have Mencia from there, which is more ripe fruit, darker, sort of brassy minerals, 30 inches of rain. It's very dry, high desert.
Wow.
And in Valdeorras, we're talking 60 to 90 inches of rain a year. It's very foggy and misty and cool. So more perfume, more potpourri,
Tons,
more
yeah.
feminine
Yeah.
in style. I like to say feminine in Valdeorras and more masculine style in Bierzo.
Totally, I
Even
get
though
that.
the same grape, it acts very
Yeah.
differently in different soil and different environment. That being said, a Portela in Valdeorras, it's an area that's a warmer pocket
Yeah.
within this cooler climate, so you get really pretty ripeness. And again, that potpourri and those floral notes. Spends a little bit of time in oak, just as a way to sort of season the flavor profile of the wine. Not something that it wears very obviously.
I wouldn't pull it out, right?
No,
But it's really pretty light.
it is, but it gives it enough
complex.
structure to work with the fried food
Yeah.
and with the duck. And this plum sauce is so
Oh,
bright
so
and
good.
uplifted. Everything about it. Again, Jen, well done, bravo.
Well, fun.
I do love all the different textures that go into it.
And
Super
visually,
fun.
this
Yeah.
is art on a plate. It's one of the most beautiful
The
dishes.
rose petals are so fun because they're actually a little thicker than I thought they'd be. They've got more texture to them. And same thing with the shoots. Super
Well,
fun.
I'm so glad you guys liked it.
Super fun.
All right, well, for the last and final course, which again, I think this wine will go great with it. But let's see, because that's what I just love about wine. I just love, like, well, so many things, but it can go with many different things. We've made it a simple, for us, chocolate Bavarian torte, and on the outside here we have acetate to protect this beautiful tempered chocolate. So our pastry chef Eric has made this tempered chocolate with gold luster dust and
Again, easy for them to make.
Wow,
Doesn't
simple.
this look beautiful? I don't know that I could
Thank
make
you,
that at
James.
home.
Simple
It's pretty
tempered
amazing.
chocolate with gold luster dust.
Yeah, just a
Thank you.
little luster dust.
It's just a little luster dust.
Some I whipped up earlier.
Yeah, I know. So,
But make sure you take the
but make
plastic
you
off.
take the
Don't
acetate
eat it.
off is the point. Is
It'll be a
exactly the
challenge.
point. But it protects it so you can touch it, because tempered chocolate, if you touch it, it'll melt in your hands. So that's the important thing to note, is that tempered chocolate. There's a little bit of a chocolate cookie crust on the bottom, and that's it. And then we have black mission figs from California, and I think the figs and the chocolate in this wine are going to be perfect.
That's why I
together.
love the transition from
And that's
savory to sweet on this.
yes.
Yeah.
And so you can slice these figs either in circles like we're doing here, or in
We're in season for
in
black
wedges.
missions.
Yeah, exactly. They're from,
Favorite
these are from
time of year.
California. I don't think Colorado has any figs that I know of. So yeah,
I
so
don't think so.
yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But we can put these figs all around here, however we like. It's like the plate. I know Chester.
Chester
also
would like
likes
them in his
figs.
mouth.
Chester, you like everything. You're such a good eater. So here's one that way, and then we can also slice them this way. So you can slice them however you like. Maybe you like them in the circles. You think that looks a little more fun, or maybe you like them in the wedges. And then to go with it, Eric has made a little red wine reduction that has a little bit of orange peel and pink peppercorn. Now, it doesn't taste like pink peppercorn, but the pink peppercorn really adds a little bit of complexity to this, and I think you guys are going to like it. I'm just going to drizzle this on the plate, however, just kind of random. So whatever fun way at home you guys want to just...
Oh, it's delicious.
What's the Pollock, the artist?
Jackson
Jackson Pollock. We can just be...
The Jasinski look.
We can just be crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of cocoa powder, even though cocoa powder is kind of hard to do at home. I just put a little cocoa powder on that plate. I like a little abstract look to that. So
That looks great.
that is our dessert. And again, we can be... I want everybody to become fancy at home and have a really
Yes.
fancy dinner without going out. And okay, for the last thing, ladies,
If you
my
Wow.
judge and jury.
I always love red wine with dessert. I do.
I took it.
I mean, I could always go for many things for dessert, but I love the transition because I always have a little bit of red wine left over.
Chester, I think I get a high
Chester.
five paw after this one.
Oh,
I
high
think you
five!
do.
Pa. I think that you get mommy award.
10 licks.
I get-
Okay,
I
so
get-
you have to put your other glass down.
Okay.
I'm trying to do this
Yes.
one-handed and it is not.
No. And also, by the way, the dessert, temper that as well.
Ooh, so
Yes, the dessert will be like just
delicious.
melt in your mouth, right? Tempered. But if
Yeah.
you have it cold, again, you want room temperature. Things taste
Mm-hmm.
just all the flavors are a little bit more at room temperature. When things are cold, they're tempered a
It's
little
true.
bit. It really is true. Wine
Cold
as well.
temperatures mute flavors.
Yes. So we want to
Yeah.
temper these too.
Wow.
How is that?
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
taste
Besides delicious,
a bite.
It's just silk.
Oh, Chester's got it.
Chester.
Chester's got it. We're
Chester
fine.
for the win.
Gabe, can you have this? Because this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
It just filled up my entire
But see-
mouth.
It
But
just
that
made my
tastes
whole
so
mouth-
good with the wine, doesn't it?
No, tell you, I'm fixated on the dessert. I haven't even.
But this tastes great
Oh,
with the
it
wine,
smells.
you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
That
so
is delicious.
different than the duck, but this wine is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Wow. That's what's so fun
And
about
it's not
it.
one dimensional in any way that it
Not
can
at
go
all.
with so many things. You
The
know?
wine seems richer with the duck, and it seems much lighter with this.
It does, yeah.
It does, and that's the versatility
Which is
of it that I
refreshing.
love. And like
Mhm.
you want that after a meal, like all the flavors we just had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
Yeah.
so I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. But I hope at home you have had a great time with Jen, Chef Gabe,
Oh my
Beth,
gosh.
myself, and Matthew, who you
This has
can't
been
see, but he's
so much
awesome. Matthew,
fun.
you're awesome.
Matthew Brooks.
At Matthew Brooks.
I have
So
to refill your
please
glass.
come to our next class. Not class. Our next dinner.
Dinner.
It is a class.
Yes,
it's so
we have
cool the way you've done
every
this.
third Wednesday.
Huh?
Every month on the third Wednesday, we're doing one in-house, but we also have them virtual. Please, riojadenver.com. We'd love to have you.
Yep.
I'm
This
excited
is
to do
super
this.
fun.
We're gonna tour
And-
all around Spain.
Yes.
Yep, we're gonna relive our little tour that we went on because it was pretty amazing. So thank you,
Ladies,
for
cheers.
bringing back the
Cheers.
memories because this was amazing.
Thank
I
you
love
Thank
it.
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Super fun
Cheers.
and delicious.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.